Had no need to fight tonight.
The 2021-2022 season previews continue today with the Calgary Flames, an interesting team. Depending on how you look at them, they're either a playoff team, they're either a rebuilding team, or they're somewhere in the middle. Now, Calgary had a very interesting offseason, losing some guys, acquiring some other guys, off of a just very bad down year in the Canadian division this season. But first off, before we get into the preview, if you're new to the channel and you have not already subscribed, I really would appreciate it if you did so. We're getting really, really close to 1,000. We only have, I think, 4 more previews left after this one. Buffalo, Boston, Arizona, and Anaheim. So, I won't waste any more of your time. Let's get into that preview. So, last season for the Calgary Flames was just overall not good. Not a good season at all. I'm not going to try and, sugarcoat it. They were 26, 27, and 3 for 55 points, and they finished 20th in the NHL, and they miss the playoffs. Just a down year, honestly. And you can argue it's the Canadian division. You could argue it's some of their top guys not performing. You could argue that as well, absolutely. There was a lot of factors that played into this. They were very bad in some stretches. Like they were losing games to Ottawa. They were losing games to Vancouver. Like they kept just screwing up their playoff chances more. And, for a while there, they were kind of in that in competition for that 4th spot. But then Montreal just started running away with it. And they were not catching them. No way in hell. So, there you go. They missed the playoffs, a down year. There was clearly some things that needed to get done. And let's just say they kind of exceeded the expectations. They kind of didn't. Depends on how you look at it. So here in your key departures list for your Calgary Flames, you have starting off with the captain, Mark Giordano. He was selected by the Seattle Kraken in the expansion draft, and let's just say he's had a lot of criticism over the past couple of years. I'm not going to deny that at all, but I think he can still be a very solid defenseman in Seattle if he plays with the right people. And I think Seattle's blue line is good enough to the point where maybe they can revive his career, which has been down in the past 2 seasons since he won that Norris Trophy. They also lost Derek Ryan. Of course, he's headed all the way over to the rivals, the Edmonton Oilers. Depth forward gone. That's going to be pretty rough for them. They also lost Josh Levo. Levo, of course, is over in Carolina now. We discussed them yesterday. Levo, if he's healthy, can be a very solid player. But right now, I'm not too sure if he's really met that requirement since coming to Calgary last season. They also lost Nikita Nestorov. Nestorov was an interesting one for me. He was really kind of a one-and-done. But I had a lot of faith in him. I thought he could play well, but he just couldn't do anything. And I mean, that could be just Calgary's down season, but I think he's back in Europe now, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think he's on an NHL team anymore. They also lost Zach Rinaldo. Of course, he's gone over and signed with the Columbus Blue Jackets. One of those people who hasn't got the vaccine yet. He's kind of a meme, not because of the vaccine thing. He's kind of just a meme, period. A lot of, especially in Philly, a lot of stuff's gone on here with him. They also lost Louis Domingue, who, was clearly kind of just a third goalie rental move, maybe backup at best. But, Riddick was there at the time, and then, of course, Riddick got traded away. Domingue didn't play well, and everything just kind of fell apart. So, Domingue's, of course, in Pittsburgh now. And then they also lost Joachim Nordstrom, who's unfortunately not in the NHL anymore. He's gone over and signed in Europe once again, so him and Nestorov are going to be playing somewhere. But, they lost Nordstrom. It's a very tough departure list because, it's a lot of depth guys, and really the biggest guy out of that list is Mark Giordano, of course, their captain. So, what do they do now? Who do they name captain? Yes. Do they name my boy Sean Monahan the captain? Because, he has the A. Do they name Matthew Tkachuk the captain? Do they name, Johnny Gaudreau the captain? There's so many options that they got to look over. Maybe they won't even name a captain. We're not sure yet. So moving on here into your key arrivals for the Calgary Flames. Now, they had kind of a controversial offseason when you look at some of these signings. I've seen some complaints by some people. I've seen some, compliments. It's really kind of split, but some of these, it's not really split. Eric Goodbranson, he is not the biggest acquisition. He's just the first guy that came to my mind with the key arrivals list before looking at charts and stuff. So Goodbranson, obviously, probably going to play third pairing, maybe not even third pairing. He could be playing a depth defenseman role. I think he can be solid. He wasn't terrible with Pittsburgh. He wasn't bad with Anaheim. Ottawa just didn't really work out for him. So, we'll see how he does with the Flames, but it's not the best signing in the world. Here's the big signing: Blake Coleman. They locked him up to a big extension, or not a big extension, a big signing. Apologies. And I think he can be solid as a second line forward, but I'm not really too sure if Coleman is really going to fix all the problems there with Calgary's depth. Now they also acquired a guy that I think is underrated, and I think honestly, with the amount of depth in Boston's goalie carousel that they had at the time, I mean Rask isn't there anymore, but still, they kind of had to deal at least one guy away. They dealt away Daniel Vladar, and he's now with the Calgary Flames. So I think Vladar can be solid as a backup. He's never really gotten that chance. I mean, he is Darth Vladar after all. And I remember seeing his first game against Pittsburgh. He looked very solid. So that could be an interesting role there, backing up Jacob Markstrom. Of course, he also acquired from the Seattle Kraken Tyler Pitlick. He was the Arizona Coyotes selection. But of course, now he's off in Calgary. So there you go. Then they also acquired from the trade with Chicago Blackhawks Nikita Zadorov. I'll give Chicago credit there again. We talked about them 2 days ago. Zadorov is also another kind of solid defenseman, kind of not, but he needed to get that cap out of there. So good on Chicago. And as for Calgary, I mean, anything at this point helps the defense. And then, of course, they acquired a complete depth forward. I'm surprised he actually got offered a contract by a team. Brad Richardson, the man, the limp, the legend, who scored the goal against the Nashville Predators to move the Coyotes on into the playoffs in 2020 where we got wrecked by Colorado. So, great times. Those are your key arrivals for your Calgary Flames. I think they're a bit controversial. The Gabranson one's controversial. The Richardson, you can argue, is controversial. But I think most of these guys are relatively solid. I think they'll help out with some of the depth, but there's still some work need to be done. Now, anyways, moving on into their projected lineup. You have starting off on the top six, Johnny Gaudreau, Sean Monahan, and Matthew Tkachuk. Then you have on the second line, Andrew Mangiapane, Michael Backlund, and Blake Coleman. That is your top six. So first line there, Gaudreau, Monahan, Tkachuk. I like that. Good goal scoring. Monahan can make passes. He can also score, too. And Tkachuk, he can kind of do a little bit of everything. He can be physical. He can score. He can make passes. He can make good plays. Tkachuk will be solid on that line playing with Monahan and Gaudreau. I think that's a very solid top line. Now, as for the second line, you got one of the most underrated players in the entire NHL. And I don't think I'm making anyone mad saying that. Andrew Mangiapane. I think he's very solid. He puts up points. He can score goals. He should be on the first line, but I'm going to put Gaudreau above them unless Gaudreau gets dealt away because that's still in the table. Then, of course, Backlund as well, a solid second-line center. And then Blake Coleman making his debut with this team is going to be pretty interesting. So we're going to see what Coleman can do with Backlund and Mangiapane. That could turn into something very interesting there. As for the bottom six and the fill-in guys there, Milan Lucic, Lindholm, Dylan Dubé, Kirkland, Richardson, Pitlick, and then as for the fill-in guys, you have Froese, Lewis, Zary, Ritchie, and Peltier. So that is your bottom six and fill-in guys. So as for the third line there, Lucic, Lindholm, Dubé, solid. Elias Lindholm can be very solid as a third-line center. Lucic can be that fighter, although he's probably going to get bought out like the James Neal one did. And then, of course, Dylan Dubé as well. Another pretty underrated forward there in Calgary. So you got some guys in Calgary there that can be solid. Kirkland kind of making his debut on that fourth line. You never really see him too often. Excuse me, I don't know why I burp at videos. As for Brad Richardson as well, depth forward, although I do not think he'll take that fourth line center role out of the gate. There's a lot of guys below them that could argue, hey, we're still there. And then Tyler Pitlick as well, playing fourth line right wing minutes. I've obviously been very vocal about how much I like Tyler Pitlick, so I'm excited to see how he was going to do with the Calgary Flames. As for the fill-in guys, Froese will definitely get chances. Most definitely Zary as well. Connor Zary, another prospect there. He's absolutely going to get chances. And Peltier too. So this could get interesting with what Calgary has here. And then, of course, Lewis and Ritchie as well. So Trevor Lewis coming in there as an acquisition too. I don't know why I don't have mentioned him in my key arrivals. And then, of course, you have Ritchie as well playing probably that fifth, fourth, sixth line, honestly. I'm not too sure where he fills in there. So we'll see where he goes. As for the blue line, you have on the first pairing Noah Hannafin and Rasmus Andersson. Then you have Nikita Zadorov and Chris Tanev. Then you have Juuso Valimaki and Eric Gudbranson. Then you have Michael Stone as well. Do I think Valimaki's going to play third pairing? Probably not. But when I look at Zadorov and Hannafin, I think I've ranked them above him. So Hannafin and Anderson are a solid first pairing there. Goal scoring, some solid defense. Zadorov and Tanev, I think Zadorov's going to get a good debut on this team. We'll see how he does. Valimaki obviously is going to get a chance on the second pairing, most definitely on that third pairing. And Gudbranson is Gudbranson. So we'll see how he does. And then, of course, Michael Stone as well. Another one of those solid kind of depth guys on the blue line there. Then, of course, for the goaltending, you have Jacob Markstrom and Daniel Vladar. Markstrom was good last season. We'll see how he is in his second season with Calgary. And we'll see how Vladar is in his first. So I like the goaltending. The defense I'm a bit shaky on. I like the top six. The bottom six, I'm not too sure how I feel about that. I like Dubé, and that's about it. We'll see how guys like Zary and Peltier can make an impact on that lineup. But apart from that, this team isn't too bad. So moving on into my final question here facing this Calgary Flames team. Do they make the playoffs? Yes. That is my biggest hot take. And ironically, it's a flaming hot take, but it is a hot take at best. I think they can. I absolutely think they can because I look at the Pacific Division. I look at how weak it is. It's really going to be Vegas, Edmonton, and Vancouver as those three spots. Honestly, it could be Vegas and Edmonton. You can even argue Vegas and Vancouver. You can argue what you want. But, I feel like that it's going to be Seattle. It's going to be LA. It's going to be Calgary. Those are going to be the three teams competing for it. And we'll see, what they're going to do getting that third spot and even the wild card spots if Calgary is good enough. I think their offense has enough firepower to override the defense and the goaltending. If it's locked down, they really honestly could very well make the playoffs. Do I think they'll go far in the playoffs? That's another discussion. But I think they can. I'm not saying they will, but I think they can. So thank you for watching Forest Presley. I really do appreciate it. A lot of reallys there. Tomorrow will be the Buffalo Sabres. We'll look at them and just their dumpster fire of a team. Although they won't do anything, we obviously have to look at them still because we're previewing all 32 teams. Then we can get into division predictions, some other stuff that I have planned before the season starts. And then, of course, we'll have some good times with some game reviews, power rankings. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, anyways, thank you all for watching Forest Presley. I really do appreciate it. And if you could subscribe, that would be amazing. And I will see you guys in the next video. Adios.